Here we all go for a fascinating day of national hunt racing on both sides of the Irish Sea. The brilliant mare Lossiemouth is featuring in the Morgiana hurdle over at Punchestown, but I'll leave Caroline to fill you in on that. Meanwhile, we'll be at Haydock Park for the Betfair chase, and looking down on Ascot, where our nap runs on Saturday. But just before I hand you over to Caroline, I imagine that the competitive stayers handicap at Haydock can go to Joe Tizard's Hartington, given the mark that he lines up from. The Venn farm handler is in fine form, though this jukebox jury-sired grey will find Emma Lavelle's Marchantou a tough opponent over this stayers trip, and memories of her stable star Paisley Park are still fresh in the memory. However, Hartington is unexposed at this trip, and certainly won't be minding the tacky ground, so I'll take the chance that this mark underestimates him, and he did win with something in hand at Carlisle 3 weeks ago. Dan Skelton is in fine form just now, so Joyeux Machin and Ace of Spades both make the shortlist, but I'll take my chance with Hartington. Now, here's Caroline to report on the Florida Pearl.
Thank you, Mandarin, and yes, I cannot wait to see Lossiemouth later on, but before then, I'm backing Cocktail Divin in the Florida Pearl. All the money this week has been on Declan Quealy's Rocky's Diamond, and although sent off favourite the last day, he went down by 3/4 of a length to Blizzard of Oz. However, I do like the appeal of Henry de Bromhead's Cocktail Divin, who I reckon will be even better stepped up in trip, so that's where I'll take my chance. Connor King's Oscar's brother brings some well-franked form into this grade too, so these are my 3, but Cocktail Divin is my pick. So back to you for your Saturday nap and next best.
Thank you, Caroline, and it's down at Ascot where my nap is lining up, in the 1965 chase. An absolutely fascinating race where Tom George's Ile Francais adds a huge spice to this grade too. Last season, Ile Francais nearly ran away with the King George at Kempton Park on Boxing Day, until our Nap Banbridge reeled him in with a brilliantly timed run from Paul Townend, but will James Reveley try that trick again? Maybe. And that will make it a real test of attrition. But to my mind, that can only play into the hands of the selection. Paul Nicholls picked Dorry, who looks for a hat-trick of wins in this race. Fully tuned up after a gallant second in the Charlie Hall at Wetherby. Pick Dorry is a proven Grade 1 winner who excels at Ascot. Hard to oppose. My next best is up at Haydock Park in the graduation chase. Of course, all the money has gone down on Ben Paulings, the jukebox man, for this graduation chase, but it's been a long return from injury, and I think Iroko might have his measure. He started last year's campaign in this race, finishing runner-up to Kim Bailey's Treelawn, but Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerriero's French-bred gelding lines up on the same mark, and has since had a wind-up. Considering his staying on 4th in the Grand National when last seen, if the forecast rain does make it a stiff test, Iroko won't be found out. Admittedly, the jukebox man was one of the best novice chasers around last season, scoring in the Quarto Star at Kempton on Boxing Day, but not seen since then. I find it easy to imagine that the King George VI back there is this season's main target, so Ben Pauling wouldn't want him to have too hard a race. On balance, I think that Iroko can land the graduation chase, before another campaign likely to end at Aintree in the spring. And now, back to Caroline for the Morgiana.
Okay, and here we go for Punchestown's feature. This is all about Lossiemouth, and let's be honest, you're not going to get much of a return backing her, but I'm of the opinion that this is a very special mare, so much so that Willie Mullins is sending Anzadam over to Newcastle to take on Constitution Hill and the New Lion in the Fighting Fifth. The trainer has also said he wants to see how she fares over this 2-mile trip, and it's hard to imagine that stablemate Irancy can give Lossiemouth £7 and come out on top. With soft ground guaranteed at Punchestown, Lossiemouth should find this a stiff enough test to show her superiority over this small field, so she should be winning this.
Thank you for that, Caroline, and on to our final featured races today. For the Ascot Hurdle, Irish Raider Wadhu is likely to go off a very short-priced favourite to take this, and I do think that is justified in this grade. Obviously there are some classy types here, including Potter's Charm and Crambo, who is unbeaten in 3 starts here and must appeal as a banker each way angle. But Wadhu goes well fresh and gets weight all round from this field. Last seen second to the brilliant mare Lossiemouth in the Grade 1 Aintree Hurdle, Wadhu's record over the sticks is 6 wins and 2 seconds from her 8 starts. Crambo might find this a bit sharp these days, so Katira from Dan Skelton's Inform Yard could be the danger. But Wadhu is the one to follow. Back at Haydock, in their feature, the Betfair Chase. What a terrific renewal we have here. With last year's first and second clashing swords again, while Irish Grand National winner Haiti Coolers adds real depth to this Grade 1. However, there's set to be plenty of overnight rain, so conditions might just turn the going to last year's winner Royal Pag L's liking, while runner-up Grey Dawning's chances might be scuppered again, if there's a change in the official going and not having been out yet in this campaign. The extra spice of Haiti Couleurs lining up, whose 4 from 5 over fences makes this a scintillating clash, with Ben Pauling's handstands hardly forgotten as another Grade 1 winner. All about the ground as I discussed with Barney on the podcast this week, but Royal Pag L goes so well fresh here at Haydock, the hat trick is entirely possible. Can't wait, frankly.